right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Give me touching on my top 10 NFL player prop bets for this upcoming season. Now, I will be covering all my favorite prop bets through various sportsbooks, so it's not just going to be a prize picks and underdog video, but it's also going to be a DraftKings, FanDuel, all those sportsbooks as well. But I do want to start with 4 really good middles that we are getting this season. And the first one that we're going to get is going to be with quarterback Kyler Murray. And if you are unfamiliar with what a middle would be, well, that would be this. You would have an opportunity to bet a prop on both sides of it. Now, this first one is really not the best one that we have available in this video that I'll be touching on, but you could bet Kyler Murray under passing touchdowns at 21.5 on DraftKings, okay? You bet 1 unit, you would profit 0.8 units. Now, you could also run out that exact opposite bet on Bet Rivers, okay? They have their line set at 18.5, and they have that favored as a push for the over and under to hit. So if the over does hit, you would be able to profit 0.89 units. Now, the fact that this is 3 off, that presents a good opportunity for you to be able to hit a middle. And so again, that's like my 10th favorite bet because, well, in some ways it does feel like a little bit of a bet on him being able to stay healthy. This is his game log. And so we can see 14, 24, 26, 20, and 10. So in theory, he should be able to get the over if he stays healthy throughout the season, but the lines kind of indicate that he might not be able to stay healthy. And obviously a different offensive system going on right now. I don't think we're too worried about that. But the fact of the matter is, this is a good middling opportunity. And so the next quarterback we're going to talk about is quarterback Bo Nix. Now, as we know, Bo Nix was selected by the Denver Broncos to most likely be their starting quarterback. Maybe Zach Wilson actually wins out that starting job. That's kind of the biggest question mark. But we'll see that really the sportsbooks are not expecting that much from him. BetMGM has him at 18.5. So if you were to bet the under there, you would get a units profit of about 0.83. And the reason why you'd bet the under there is because FanDuel has his line set at 15.5, and they also had that one set at basically a push. So Bo Nix also presents a nice middling opportunity. Now, again, the concern with him about potentially hitting a middle would just be when he starts or if he starts right away. So like him and Kyler Murray, they're a little bit different than these next two I will call out because, well, Kyler Murray's been a little bit banged up, and Bo Nix, we don't know for sure when he's going to start. And I do think this chart that I'm going to call out here is certainly interesting for most passing touchdowns for quarterbacks since 2017, so the past 5 years. And I would say Bo Nix is literally at the middle point pretty much, in between Deshaun Watson, maybe Sam Darnold, probably more Sam Darnold. And so honestly, if we can get him to get 17 passing touchdowns, that'd be pretty awesome. Now, the next two are going to be much more predictable in terms of middling opportunities, and they're 2 prop bets that I feel pretty comfortable suggesting to you guys in terms of middle. And we'll be getting to 6 more prop bets that I like elsewhere. And so sticking with the quarterbacks for one more pick, we're going to go with quarterback Will Levis. Fumbling issues aside, Will Levis is the first of the quarterbacks that we can basically accurately project to get all of his starts this season. He should be the starter this full season. And so the lines that we're getting on him should be closer together than really what we are seeing. And so what we are seeing is DraftKings has his passing total or for touchdowns at 20.5, and it's only at minus 115. So that's a very good number. More importantly, guys, Caesars has it at 17.5, but the under is actually favored on Caesar Sportsbook. That is crazy. This is almost an arbitrage bet that we have for Will Levis for his passing touchdowns. So if the over hits, you're going to get 0.95 units of profit, which is pretty awesome. Now, Will Levis did not do anything for the first 7 weeks, obviously last year, where Ryan Tannehill was the starter, and then Malik Willis try to operate a little bit in there as a quarterback, but it is going to be the Will Levis show now. Now, he came in against Atlanta, had 4 passing touchdowns, then kind of had a tougher matchup, kind of just more hit or miss. Now, he does have a better offense this year on paper, especially in terms of passing production with Tony Pollard now there. Tajay Spears is still going to be a force. Then you also have Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd there. He is set up for success. And so the 8 total passing touchdowns that he had, we obviously need him to at least double that plus 2 touchdowns for his middle to hit. And that might be a little bit of a concern, but he's going to have the weapons to do that. Now, this next one will be a receiver. And I will say, I don't know if I exactly love the middle, although it is a good opportunity on paper. I'm probably going to favor the over for him. And the receiver I'm referring to is going to be Garrett Wilson. Now, the issue with Garrett Wilson is that his production is very much predicated on one person, not named Garrett Wilson, and that's going to be quarterback Aaron Rodgers staying healthy. And so we know that that was the issue last year. But in my eyes, if we were to get a full season out of Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers at QB, I would imagine that the over on DraftKings would be the best route to go. And that's where I was saying, because the payout would be better, that's where I was saying maybe I don't love the middle too much, but really Caesars being off this much compared to DraftKings is huge, and both of them are favoring their lines as pushes. Now, obviously, these sportsbooks are going to have juice in their lines. Juice essentially means they're not going to lose money on these bets pretty much. They're supposed to be 50-50s. That's how they're being proposed to us. And so again, I don't really see this one middling where, the first three do have a decent chance to middle, but this over for Caesar seems to be one that we should probably be hammering home. And that's a little bit predicated on the fact that over the last 2 seasons, he has not really had an NFL quality quarterback. I mean, I would say Zach Wilson, he's fine. But the fact that he was able to get over 1,000 receiving yards in those 2 seasons, that's huge. And now you tack on Aaron Rodgers, who does tend to have a little bit of tunnel vision on his favorite target. We know Garrett Wilson's going to be that for him. The only concern would be that someone might say maybe Wilson is due to miss a game. The fact that he's played in all games thus far in his career, maybe there's something there. But I don't like to bet with injuries. I don't like to bet with that in mind for the most part. And that's one thing I probably should have touched on. Obviously, these season-long bets depend on a player getting injured or not. Last year, all my bets hit in which players were not injured, which I think is pretty huge. So now we're going to switch and get into more of 4 bets that I like on Prize Picks and Underdog, and then we're going to close it up with then 3 bets I like on various different sports. So we do have 1 bet on Prize Picks that is currently sticking out. That's going to be Tua with his passing touchdowns. You're going to see it's at 27.5. And so right now we look at that line where we're getting for Tua on Prize Picks. It's at 27.5. Some of the sportsbooks out there have his line set at 24.5. That is what it is on average. Actually, one of them has it set at 23.5. Underdog has it set at 25.5. And so with this line, we can see that Prize Picks is clearly the outlier data point right now in terms of his passing touchdown. Now, when we look at his game log, however, we're going to see that last year he was able to get his over 27.5 passing touchdowns. He had 29. Now, he started every single game. That was the first time in his career in which he had done that. Also, worth noting that Tyreek Hill did get injured later on in the season, which did kind of hurt Tua in terms of his passing production. And so if Tyreek Hill were to stay healthy throughout the full season, that could only help Tua's passing touchdown. So I will say, I love the under on Prize Picks. We should be doing that at 27.5, but the sportsbook I was referring to where you could bet the over 23.5 passing touchdowns is going to be BetMGM. So there is that opportunity there as well. And so this next one that I'm going to get into is a little bit of a stack here on Underdog, which will also lead us into today's video sponsor, which is going to be Underdog. So if you guys want to use these prop bets and you never signed up for Underdog, use the promo code 9to5. That's just an easy way to support this channel. And it also supports your bankroll. You guys get 100% match on a deposit up to $100. But I'm going to keep this one simple. What we're going to see here is Caleb Williams right now, his passing yards on Underdog seems to be off by at least 200 passing yards. And I do want to go back to one of the rookie charts here that I showed you earlier. Now, for him to get that over passing yards on Underdog, he would have to have one of the top 4 recent seasons for rookie quarterbacks. And I would argue he is going to be set up for that, but he would have to play all the games. And in today's NFL, wouldn't it be shocking to see a rookie quarterback or just a quarterback in general miss at least a game or 2? And if that occurs, maybe not the best. But what we are seeing is Underdog is the clear outlier right now for his line. So you'd want to bet the under 3,650 passing yards. But you could also pair that with Rome Odunze, where we're going to see that his line is clearly a little bit too high as well. 750 seems egregiously too high for him to me. I would argue that the Prize Picks line is a little bit too high as well. Now, if you guys are someone that's hearing that right now and saying, I disagree, I think those two are both going to have great years, that is great. Use that together on Prize Picks to bet the over or one of the other sports books. We are clearly seeing right now that this line on Underdog for both of these two is going to be too high. Now, my worry for Rome Odunze is that Keenan Allen's going to be there, DJ Moore's there, Cole Kmet's still there. They're going to have a decent passing game, and I just don't see the path in which Odunze gets going right away. I would say Keenan Allen or DJ Moore would have to get injured for him to get that over. So I really like that under on Underdog. You could probably use that separately as well. So one of my favorite props, I think, this year, right now, as it sits, is going to be Jayden Daniels for over his passing yards on Prize Picks. Now, we are getting some sports books where we can also bet this over. And so I said earlier that there was 4 Prize Picks and Underdog prop bets I like combined, but also 3 more sportsbook prop bets. This one combines into both. And so I like the over of his passing yards on Prize Picks. We're going to see that in comparison to the average odds and the Underdog line, Prize Picks is probably the lowest one. They're the outlier. And so we can clearly see that the sportsbooks really don't know how to value Jayden Daniels coming into this season. And some of you guys might be wondering, the reasons as to why that is. Well, for me, I think it points to Cliff Kingsbury being the offensive coordinator and really what he was able to do with Kyler Murray, who seems like a similar quarterback in his first season, where Kyler Murray was able to throw for 3,700 yards. And so I think that's a big reason as to why we are seeing those discrepancies. Maybe they are expecting a little bit more run from Jayden Daniels, but at the same time, Cliff Kingsbury was able to have Kyler Murray be successful in his rookie season. So just to reiterate, you could, in theory, bet the under on BetMGM as well, and then bet the overs on PrizePicks and FanDuel as well for Jayden Daniels. Huge discrepancies going on with him. He could potentially middle for you guys if you are someone that bets on sportsbooks only, not PrizePicks and Underdog. And then just two quick and easy ones here for you guys. One is going to be Kirk Cousins to get over 26.5 passing touchdowns, and that's going to be on Bet Rivers. And I'm a little bit confused by that. So one, that is the lowest one that's out there. Some are given 27.5, some are given 28.5. Bet Rivers is giving it as a push. I think it was like minus 112 to get over 26.5 passing touchdowns. We can see over his career, he has basically gotten this over every single season. Now, the one worry with him would be that he is coming in off of an injury. He's a little bit older. But guys, before he got injured, he was throwing the football as the best in the league. Like, he was the best at throwing the football in the league before he got injured last year. Now, I do worry that Arthur Smith was a little bit of a scapegoat last year, and maybe the GM just isn't that good at drafting. Maybe Drake London was a little bit overdrafted. Maybe Kyle Pitts was a little bit overdrafted. They are still talented, though. And Kirk Cousins is still one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and they're still going to throw the football a lot. And so I just see this number to be too low. Now, we are betting on him being healthy and playing all, let's just say, at least 16 games. And if that occurs, yeah, I think he's going to get the over. And then the last one that I like is going to be Blake Corum for under his rush yards of 500. Now, this is kind of two-tiered. A lot of people are thinking that he's going to be the running back number 2 in that offense. Personally, I don't see it that way. I think Ronnie Rivers has a good chance to be the backup running back. Now, I should rephrase that. Maybe more the handcuff for Kyren Williams, like we saw last year when Ronnie Rivers and Kyren Williams went down. They actually resorted to Darrell Henderson rather than their actual backup at the time, which was Zach Evans. I think we could see that same situation happen with Blake Corum this year, where in simple, if you do not have this man's trust, especially in pass protection, you are not going to get on the field. And for me, it's partially that before we see Blake Corum make some plays like Ronnie Rivers made last preseason, then we can start to adjust. But for now, when you have a player making these types of plays, it is difficult for me to not want to be on that player. I mean, this is a spectacular run to get to the outside and then eventually score the touchdown. Now, that last one might be a little bit too hot takey for you guys. I get that. But that was the 10 favorite prop bets that I have currently for the upcoming NFL season for the player prop bets. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be pushing out a lot more content for the NFL season before the start of the season. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck this NFL season. And as always, let's keep cashing.